Everyone has complained about problems at their apartment complex if you have lived at one. And a lot of people have and continue to feel hopeless. Real estate expert Shad Bogany describes what steps you can take to get help. If you check in any newsroom in America, one of the biggest pleas we receive in emails, it would be from individuals who are going through rental properties or rental problems, rather. Individuals who rent a property and can't get the landlord or the apartment complex to respond properly. So when individuals have complaints about their apartment or their house that they may be renting, for example, if there's mold there, if there are leaking pipes and they can't get the landlord and or apartment management to respond, what would be the best course of advice, citing any problem that they may have, but they're not getting any response from management?
First thing I would suggest, Isaiah, is for them to read their lease and go down and read the lease and look for the remedies in the lease when you have these sorts of issues. One of the things I would also do is put in writing and take pictures and send to the management company or the owner of that particular property and show them what the issues are. There are several things in place. You could look out to the Workforce Commission. They have a group that works with people who have rental problems. You can also go to renters' rights. You can call your AG, Attorney General Department at Texas, and ask the Attorney General to get involved. They have a renter's right. And the other thing that you could do is there's a hotline out there called Slum Landlord Hotlines that you could call. So there are things that you can do to put it in place, but what you can't do is not pay your rent. You have to keep yourself in line with what your lease says, but a lot of us never read our lease. So go read the lease, find out what the remedies are. Now, keep in mind that contracts that we use in real estate, the majority of them are promulgated by the Texas Real Estate Commission. With leases, they're not. Texas realtors give us a lease that we can use as a realtor, but most landlords may have their own leases created by their attorneys. Mm-hmm. So you've got some thoughts there that you have to be really careful. But the first thing I would do is read my lease, find out what the remedies are, and then go through that process. Now, if you have a hard time finding who the owner is of this property, the next thing that I would do is go to the appraisal district for that county, pull up the address, and you will find out where the tax bills are mailed. And that's where I would send my letter to also.
But you brought up an important point that I always tell viewers who write me for help, and that's don't withhold your rent. Don't withhold your rent. Just because there's a problem, even if there's a major leak and they're not fixing it, you still need to pay that rent. Otherwise, they got you.
Right. Two wrongs don't make a right. And so you've got to respond in that situation. But there's several groups out there that will work with you on landlords. All you have to do is Google them. They're there. But if you're really getting in trouble, call the AG's department, the Texas Attorney General. Give them a call. Workforce Commission has an office to handle leases also when you have a problem. But go to those first before you decide, I'm going to just move out. Because just moving out means you still owe that rent.
Absolutely. And I'm a realist and I deal with the real world. And I always tell people who call complaining about the apartment complex, if you go on camera, they could retaliate against you. They'll find a way to kick you out. So if you are reporting them to the AG, reporting them to, say, the owner and the front office management retaliate, if they retaliate against you, or if your landlord retaliate against you by trying to kick you out, how do you deal with something like that?
Well, when you go to those extremes, that's the last thing that you do. The normal thing to do is really reach out to your management company. But in the end, if this is where it goes and you feel you're being retaliated against, I'm going to hire a real estate attorney to step in for you, that's what you should do. And there may be some out there that would do it for pro bono because of the organization they're in. So I would always say, follow the rules of just calling your management company, sending them pictures, asking for a response. And one of the things, ask for an ETA. When do you think you're going to get this fixed?
Right.
Some people think it automatically happens right then. It normally does not in the real world. So ask for an ETA. Make sure you take pictures of everything, but go through the process. Read your lease, because in your lease, whether the attorney wrote it or you got one from the realtors had it written, Texas Realtors had it written, there's remedies for problems when you have problems in regards to your lease when things are not done as stated.